Okay, guys, so I thought it might be, I might just do a video on editing because editing can be kind of a bit boring, but it's obviously super important. Um, yeah, really, really important, but it can be very boring. But so I might just dive into a bit of editing, and then you guys can kind of watch this video for editing. But yeah, so this is the editing part, so part two. All right, so dive straight in. Let's go ahead and just play the first. Well, I already know. I'm just actually just going to go clean the bass up. So you always want to make sure things are clean. So if you haven't listened to all this noise, it's just too much noise. So we're just going to start cleaning up a lot of this stuff. Now, bass is a great instrument that um, uh, you can get it pretty clean. Like you want to get it pretty clean, and so I do a lot of these little stops now. One thing I always talk about, there's going to be a little pop here. See how that there's an actual wave? There's going to be a pop here, so you have to fade these. I actually have let me go back. So I actually have a little shortcut, which try and find your shortcut. But when you highlight a bunch of these, I push F on Mac, and it does a tiny little fade. So that's what I'm going to do over all of them when I finish doing my fades. Bass is an easy one to do that on. Some other instruments you have to do it manually just because it doesn't quite work. But so we're just going to kind of line these up as we go and make sure they're. I'm actually just going to clean this part first, and then so if you zoom in, there's noise here, and that noise adds up if it's on every single track. All right, so just those stops, I'm going to clean there. And we'll go back. The two red channels are obviously bass. So I think the bottom one is going to be the spare. I did two different ideas because I think I like the second idea. And that's fine. So let's just go over and make those fades. So now let's go ahead and just make sure things are in time. So I'm just going to put the drums and the bass on. Now that one is just a tiny little bit early, you can see there. Now the attack on the note is usually these first little ones, but the real note kind of comes in there. So with bass, so anywhere around there I think will be fine. Yep, too early on that one. Too early on that one. All right. Might be a little early. Early on that one. All those just a hair early. That last one's a little early. Cool. Okay, cool. That's. I think I'm happy with that. I'm just going to hide the other bass. I don't need that. Um, so, all right. What do we do next? That's what I'm thinking. I think we'll just go. Um, let me just. Yeah, keep clean. Let me do the guitars. Yeah. So we have a spare here. We can see that some of these are late there. I can see that's late, so I'm actually just going to grab this one and throw it up here. Um, so yeah, I'm going to need to do a bit of cleaning here. So just looking at these tracks, and all I have to do is find a couple of good ones. So let's just keep playing through. Let me put the drums as well. So this second one might have been better. The second take, it might have been better than the first one. So as I was getting a bit more warmed up. All right. So I think there's a little bit of extra ring on this one over here. Oh, is this one? All right, that's why we got a spare here. All right, so I do like that one, that first one. I mean, the second one there. I like that a lot better than this first one here. So we might be using that one as repeated. So we'll see. Little clearer that one there, I think. Might use that one as well. These are about the same level. They actually should be. This one should be about there, I think. Dun, dun. Yeah. I'll get rid of all these. These will create pops. And my shortcut. Now what I like to do, as you kind of see, I'm kind of just, I like to keep moving forward, and then you constantly keep tweaking and fixing things up as you go. This is not perfect, and this over here, I can see a little, there's a bit of movement here, but I personally don't want to, I don't want to get hung up on some of these things. I'll come back to it as it's jumping out at me at the mix. I could just move it over a little bit now, but it gets a little bit more in time as I keep going. So, and I'll do this in, I kind of, now that I'm talking about it, let me just kind of tweak it a little bit. So I kind of look ahead and I'm like, okay, this one's late. It's supposed to be on that line there. This one's a little late. This one's late, I should say. Well, actually, all these ones to about there, a bit late. Now I do get on time around here, so I'm just going to move that whole section, because sometimes it can be very robotic, and I always want to make sure it's nice and natural sounding. Because there's no point having it robotic and perfectly in time, but if it sounds unnatural, it's going to sound, it's going to, I'd rather have a real player, you know, have it sounding really rocky. So this part here, we already have another one over here. I'm thinking I could go back to this, but let's just do another one. Let's have a look for one more of that section. This one's a little late here. I gotta clean those endings up there. Oh. Just take that. Let's grab that. What measure is that? See if I remember that. I think it's this note here. Yeah, that's cool. So this one over here might be better, which obviously this first one here I'm still looking to replace. So let me have a listen to the second one, see if it's better than these other last ones. All right, cool. I'm going to grab this other one over here, because then they're not going to be right identically next to each other. Like if I copy this one here, it's going to be like the same one, and I want to kind of, and people might be able to hear that, so I want to try and keep them a bit separate. I want to get that first note. Yeah, that one's tight there. Okay, so if I replace that. Cool. Okay, so I think I'm liking that. That's good for now. As I said, we'll just keep moving on. I don't need that spare one. Let's shrink this down a bit. Okay, so now let's have a listen to. We've got the riff going, so we can probably unsolo the thing. All right, so these are more of the lead parts. Let's clean these up. Okay, so I'm making sure these are lined up to these other ones. I'm watching them all. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so now there's a cool little trick here with these ones here. They're kind of like, they need to be robotic. These ones need to be like a machine gun. So there's a real cool shortcut that you can do. I'm sure every DAW can do it. So I change it over here to I think it's Rhythmatic. Analyze it. So then it kind of quantizes it, and you can see every part, the transient or the actual attack of the note. There's been a line put there. So then we can just go to quantize, and then we can do it by, that's what we wanted at 16. So then you go apply, and you'll see it move as I click it. Here we go. See, it just moved everything. And then if I'm happy with that, I can go through it and listen to it, but I'm pretty sure I'll be happy with it. And I can actually just bring, if something's wrong, I can bring that part out. And so, like, meaning I can still have this track underneath. So none, commit. Now it's like it's super tight, and this part needs to be tight. Whoops. Okay, let's do that again. All right, now I missed this one here, so we might have to come back to that. That's all right. Missed another one there. That's all right. So I missed this first one here. I don't even know if we'll hear it. It's going to be so in the mix, but let's just tighten it up while we're here. And I think it did something weird to the first note. See that first note? I think that needs to be out here. So sometimes they do a little bit of weird stuff. I'll go grab that at the other spot. Cool, so I'm just going to create another track here and bring that back out. This part here. Yeah, see, it's supposed to, that note's supposed to be, oh, it actually is a bit of a wrong note. It's supposed to come out here when it starts. Alright, so let's make sure these notes are on runtime. That was a little late, and that one. That was a little late as well. Alright, let's have this last one. Got to get those stabs, those stops nice and tight. Cool, so make sure we got no pops on there. Nice. Okay, that one's cool. So let's get rid of this. Alright, the next part, we got some more melodies here. So I'll just turn those other parts down. okay, well, at least put them together. Pull that back a little bit, and that one. And that one. Alright, looks like I did a harmony on that. Let's just tighten it up a bit. Then I do the riff. Okay, so we're going to make sure this is tight. I might actually just even swap so I can eyeball them then. Use my sight as well to match these riffing parts up together. You can see that they're not that tight, and they need to be relatively. It is a fast moving part, so we'll see. I'm not even going to solo these. Okay, so if I tighten them up too much, it's going to get a bit robotic, and I do want it really flowing, and sometimes when it gets too quantized, it loses the attitude to it. So there's a fine balance of trying. You want it to always just sound good, you know. That's the main part, and so I'm still moving some of these things around to line up. Now, so this one here, I could move this over a little bit. Let's do that. These are a little forward, a little early. As I said, I don't want it to sound robotic or edited. So I have another one of that. Make sure these endings are tight. Sounds a bit late. Yeah, I think that'll work. Let's just keep moving on. I've got a couple more tracks to do before we even look at the drums. I've already done that one. So now we've got this ambient stuff. Ambient stuff is going to be drenched in reverb, so I think it'll be okay, unless something jumps out at me. Because of all that reverb, it'll be okay, unless there's a wrong note. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. Let me have a listen one more time. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. That'll be pulled down the mix. You'll hear how that's going to be mixed down pretty low. All right, now we have some volume swells. That one's good too. There we go. Okay, so we've got everything tuned, everything timed up. Now we need to work on the drums a lot. Drums is a big part of rock. It's a big part of the energy and the make sure I've got. Always have fades. Always have fades. If you're not sure, double check, because that's what will be a pop. You'll hear a pop. So always get in the habit of always do a fade. I'm checking that those are all got fades. All right, cool. What is this one? Ooh, actually, I think that was just a copy. So if I heal that, yeah, it wasn't actually a cut. It's just to grab that section. All right, cool. So now we're going to go and work on the drums, but we'll do that live. So yeah, so that's editing, getting all the pieces together, and yeah, so hopefully that's been helpful. All right, see you in part 3.